the ducal palace of House Cassius, where our protagonist and her in-laws are having lunch. Ethel silently have her lunch while her brother-in-law said to her sister-in-law, Rihanna, you should eat the carrots too. Rihanna replied, no, I hate carrots. Her husband Leandro said to Rihanna, if you want to be healthy, you shouldn't be picky about food. Rihanna said, I said no Leandro, I won't die even if I don't eat carrots. Lohim said, shouldn't carrots be your favorite food, little bunny? Suddenly Duke shouts, enough. No one can force my daughter to eat anything she hates. He said in cold tone, how dare they serve food Rihanna dislikes? I shall dismiss everyone who had a hand in preparing this meal. Hearing this, the maid standing nearby flinched. Rihanna stood shouting, no, you can't, Dad. She went close to Duke and holds his hand. Tears drops from her eyes while she said, you're not the kind of person who'd fire people for such a trifling matter, are you? Duke clears his throat saying, fine. Since you say so, I will let it go this one time. Lohim asked, how are you going to survive in this world, being so naive, little bunny? Leandro said, Rihanna, you're too nice to a fault. They were having these talks while completely ignoring that there was someone else sitting beside them, our protagonist Ethel. She thinks, ugh, are they for real? Is that how people treat a 20-year-old grown-up? Leandro finally noticed her. He asked, is there something wrong, Ethel? Wiping her mouth she said, no, I just don't have any appetite. That's all. Meanwhile she thinks, because you people made me completely lose my appetite. Lohim said to Rihanna, I'll give you a present if you eat all the carrots on your plate. Leandro pats her too saying, I'll give you one too. Rihanna asked, you're going to give me presents when it's not even a special day? Suddenly Lohim realized something. He whispers to Leandro, brother, did you prepare a present for your wife? Otherwise she'll sulk. Ethel asked, indeed? Do you have a present for me? Meanwhile she thinks, Lohim, that's so not like you to think of me. Leandro sighed. Then he said, what are you talking about? We don't even have any special occasion today. Hearing this, Ethel said, today's our wedding anniversary. She thinks we got married exactly 2 years ago today. Leandro gets surprised repeating, wedding anniversary. Lohim said, how can you forget your wedding anniversary? What a terrible husband, Rihanna said, my word. You're right. It is today. Duke said, you're married, son? You should pay attention to your family. Ethel shivers thinking, goodness, did hell freeze? What's up with these people today? Leandro said, it's my fault that I forgot our wedding anniversary, but... She thinks, but? Did he just say, but when even a sincere apology wouldn't be enough? He asked, is there a rule that only the husband should give a present to the wife on their wedding anniversary, and not vice versa? Ethel thinks, when I first found myself transmigrated to this fictional world, I thought I was lucky. I thought I was given a second chance at life after I met my end in a traffic accident. I awoke in the novel I enjoyed reading titled The Returner's Rosy Second Life. In the story, Rihanna is an orphan who dies after leading a miserable life. Lohim, second son of House Cassius. Leandro, first son of House Cassius. And Duke Cassius, nobleman of high rank and family head. After regressing, Rihanna is adopted into the ducal family, and occupies all the love and attention of her father and 2 brothers. I particularly loved how the Duke's family cherish her like the apple of their eyes. As a reader, while Rihanna is the protagonist of this novel, I'm Ethel Wallace, wife to her eldest brother, Leandro, a minor character, who rarely appears in the story and hardly receives any attention. I'm okay with that because my favorite character is Leandro, and I get to be his wife. His blonde hair sparkles more brilliant than the sunlight, and his blue eyes hold a breadth deeper than any lake. He is perfect in every aspect, from his capabilities to his appearance, just like his father, Lord Leandro, the heir to House Cassius. Although our marriage is of convenience, who cares? I'm his wife. How lucky I am to be a member of the ducal family in this story. For me, it's as good as getting a VIP seat to enjoy the novel. Or so I thought. Ethel felt rage. Leandro asked, Ethel? Marriage is of 2 people. Since you also failed to prepare my present. She grits thinking, my mistake when I read the novel is that I never thought about how Ethel would feel. Not only did he abandon me once we got to our honeymoon destination, but he also had his aide send me a gift for our first wedding anniversary. She recalled saying to him, it's my birthday, Todd, but he interrupts saying, I'm busy. One day she asked, would you like to go for a stroll W-? He replied, I've just got back from a walk with Rihanna. She calls him, but he went to his sister saying, Rihanna is looking for me. She thinks, I never thought I'd be overshadowed by Rihanna and treated as if I'm invisible like this. Back to dining table, Leandro said. I don't think you can blame me for. He was about to complete his words, but she throws a box on his face. Everyone around gets shocked. He asked, what? She shouts, I want a divorce. She turns saying, let's proceed with the divorce process as soon as possible. Dazed, Leandro asked, divorce? Duke asked her, Ethel, are you serious about what you just said? Rihanna shocked, said Ethel. Luhaim shakes his brother while also being shocked. She left saying, farewell, everyone. Maid said, my lady. She went up to her room. While grabbing some jewels, she thinks, I should take these with me. I can't just leave empty-handed, can I? She heard footsteps and thinks, how quick he is to follow me. He opened the door shouting, Ethel. He asked, are you serious about getting a divorce? She replied while packing her things, yes, I'm very serious. He asked, but why, what's the reason? He tries to block her way. She said, step aside. I'm leaving. He said, it's my fault that I forgot our anniversary. But you can't do this just because. She interrupts asking, do you think I'm doing this just because of that? He said, I admit that we're not very close as a married couple, but isn't some level of detachment common in arranged marriages? She said, this is not simply about us not being close enough. He asked, then what other reason could there be? He suddenly noticed something. He said, looking at a dress, Ethel, look at that. He uncovers the dress saying, you remember when you got married to me in this dress, don't you? Try to recall that happy moment. But she interrupts saying, it wasn't a happy moment. He gets shocked and asked, pardon? She said coldly, I wasn't happy then. Also, both that dress and our wedding don't trigger happy memories. A few months prior to the wedding, in the 5th drawing room of the ducal palace, Ethel came wearing a plain white dress. He glanced at her saying, that suits you well. The designer asked, what would you like to try on next, my lady? She thinks, I can't believe they had an entire boutique relocated to their house. This is something House Wallace can't even dream of. Then she recalled her family saying, you must get married to Lord Cassius no matter what. Where and when else can you meet a man of such superior status? Will my life get easier if my sister becomes Duchess Cassius? She shrugs at thoughts thinking, I get why they made such a fuss. I won't have to see such despicable people once I get married though, so whatever. They say she's the best designer in the empire, and indeed, every single item is a work of art. The door opens, and Rihanna enters saying, Leandro. He asked her, Rihanna, what are you doing here? She replied, I was curious to see how my future sister-in-law would look in a wedding dress. Ethel smiled hearing this. She thinks seeing them, when I read this novel, I thought that I'd like to have such a loving family. And after the wedding, I'm going to be one of them. Raina went close to her saying, how beautiful. She asked, can I try one of the dresses? Ethel asked, pardon? She replied, if you don't mind, that is. She said, seeing you so beautiful in a wedding dress makes me want to try one too. Ethel thinks she's so cute. It's only natural, of course. I also yearn to wear a wedding dress at her age. Thinking this, she nods. Leandro came and asked, what? Why would you want to try on a wedding dress? Rihanna pouts asking, maybe I shouldn't, should I? Ethel asked to designer, isn't it all right? Letting her just try it on wouldn't hurt, right? She nods. Leandro said, suit yourself. Rihanna shouts, yay, I'm so excited. While Rihanna was changing, Luhaim and their dad came. Luhaim asked, brother, is Rihanna here? Duke said, we thought we'd have tea with Rihanna. The servants told us she'd be here. Luhaim said, you're here too, Lady Wallace? Ethel thinks, of course I'm here, you jerk. It's my dress-fitting day. Rihanna came dressed up in a beautiful dress. Dad, Luhaim, I didn't know you're both here too. Everyone gets shocked seeing her. She asked, what do you think? Isn't this dress so gorgeous? Luhaim asked, why are you wearing that thing? She replied, because I want to. Duke said, it feels like only yesterday when my daughter said she'd marry me. Rihanna said, that was a long, long time ago, Dad. Luhaim said, what are you saying, Father? It's me that she promised to marry. Ethel thinks, were they this silly in the novel too? Leandro moves forward shouting, what are you two talking about? Ethel thinks, yes, at least one person seems to. But she gets jolted after he said, Rihanna promised she'd marry me. She thinks, hey, aren't you supposed to marry me? Rihanna said, that's enough. Dad, brothers, stop making a fuss over something I said when I was young. Just sit down and take a look at the other dresses I'll try on. Then she tries some other dress and showed them. After that, while leaving, Duke asked, "Shall we go have tea now?" Rihanna said, "Okay, Dad." Lehim said, "Good luck, brother." She thinks they finally left. "I'm so exhausted." He picks a dress and asked, "What do you think of this one?" He said, "You looked very beautiful in this." Coming back to present, he said, "That can't be true. But when you tried this on, I definitely thought." She interrupts shouting, "When did I wear that?" He said, "Back then." She said coldly, "The person who wore that dress wasn't me." "It was your sister?" he asked. "It was Rihanna." He shouts, "How could I make such a foolish mistake?" "You must be mistaken." She asked, "Do you think I'm an idiot who can't even tell what I tried on?" He said confidently, "I can tell that much too. Are you making things up to put the blame on me?" She felt rage. "What?" she asked. "Are you insinuating that I'm lying?" He turns his face saying, "That's not what I mean. But, although you and Rihanna look quite alike, how could I possibly confuse you with her?" She glares thinking, "We look alike." She imagined Rihanna and herself. "How? Where? When?" He gasped. "If that were to be true, why did you not say anything back then? You must have been very offended." She thinks, "Are you saying that I shouldn't fuss about it after all this time?" She asked, "What did I say at dinner this evening?" He asked, "Why are you asking me that all of a sudden?" She said, "Indulge me." He ponders for a moment. Then he said, "You said you had no appetite." She asked, "And?" He said, "You asked me if I prepared a present for you, and then you said we should get divorced." She asked, "And what happened before that conversation?" He imagined the scene saying, "Well, before that, She said, "That's exactly where I stand in this house." She turns leaving saying, "That's my situation in this house since I became your wife." "What do you think it was like before we got married?" he said, "Ethel." She asked while leaving, "How could I dare point out Lord Cassius' mistake?" She recalled the moment when he suggested dress. "You looked very beautiful in this." She thinks, looking at him recommend the one Rihanna tried on. "I thought to myself, why would the Cassius family alienate me? Let's not rush things. It just takes time to get close with them." However, over time, I knew that there was no room for me in their hearts. Leandro said, "I admit that my family has an unusually close bond." She said, "That's exactly why I'm leaving. I'm the odd one out in this family." He taps her shoulder shouting, "Ethel!" She slaps his hand. She said, "I'll prepare our divorce papers and send them to you so that you only need to sign them." He follows her saying, "Wait, Ethel. Please listen to me." She said, "I've heard enough of your crap." He asked, "What did you just say?" She turns saying, "Get lost, you turd." The servants and Duke's family was standing downstairs. Wall passed by them while Lehim asked, "Ethel, how did your talk go?" Rihanna asked, "What did Leandro say?" Duke said, "Ethel, expressing your anger like this won't help." She opens the door and left. She walks away with her suitcase while Duke's family stood seeing her. She went to market. She booked a room in a hotel and while laying on bed she said, "This feels awesome. I was a bit worried that I couldn't bring much of my stuff with me, but now, I couldn't feel more at home. Let's not think about trivial matters for now. Getting divorced is the priority." At Duke's palace, Lehim asked Leandro, "Brother, are you really going to just let this be?" He asked, "What are you talking about?" Lehim said, "I'm talking about your wife, of course." He replied, "I'm sure she'll come back before long." Lehim asked, "Don't you remember how she left after dropping such an announcement? Are you so shocked that you lost your wits?" He said, "My wife is a wise woman. She might have demanded a divorce in a fit of anger, but I'm sure she's regaining her senses by now." Lehim asked, "Isn't that just your wishful thinking?" He said, "You're well aware that we didn't marry for love in the first place." Lehim said, "Oh ho. So you're implying that she'll come back for the sake of her house. But what if she never returns?" Leandro stopped. He said, "She will?" Lehim asked, "What makes you so sure?" Leandro said, "Rihanna told me that this marriage won't end." He asked, "Did she?" "Well, if she said so. She's been providing useful information to our family at critical moments, and catches people off guard with her occasional eloquent speech. After all, what she said has surprisingly proven to be true up to this point." Leandro said, "Yes, that's why I believe there won't be a divorce." The next day, the Cassius Ducal Palace. Butler knocked Leandro's room. "Pardon me, my lord, are you awake?" "Her ladyship has." Before he can complete his words, Leandro opens the door and rushed outside. Butler shouts, stopping him, "My lord." He thinks, "I knew it. She's finally back." He opens the door shouting, "Ethel." He gets shocked seeing a postman. The postman asked, "Lord, Leandro Cassius?" Leandro asked, "Who are you?" He showed some papers saying, "I'm here to deliver this on behalf of Lady Ethel Wallace. This is to be delivered to you." Leandro takes the package. He opens it just to find out a divorce agreement. In front of the city hall of Royan, the capital of the Astaroth Empire, Leandro, holding the papers, walks around in wait. Suddenly he gasps, seeing Ethel coming towards him. He shouts, "Ethel!" She said, "Oh my? I see you arrived first." He asked, shouting, "What were you thinking to send me this?" She replied, "Of course I sent it to divorce you. Why else would I?" He asked, "Divorce? Are you truly going to part ways with me?" She asked, "Then does this look like a ruse to you?" He said, "How could you do this to me? What a fool I am to have been concerned about you." She asked, "Who asked you to be concerned about me?" "Well, at least you admitted that you're a fool." He shouts in anger, "Ethel!" But she shouts back, "What?" He flinched by her response. She thinks, "You didn't think that I can also yell like you, did you?" He clears his throat and said, "I've been thinking a lot about us since you left. You were right. Since we got married, I'd been such a..." She interrupts him saying, "That talk can wait until after we submit our divorce papers." He asked, "Can't you see I'm trying to apologize to you?" "How can you?" She said furiously, "I'm not at all curious about how sorry you are." She asked, "Do I have to forgive you if you apologize to me? Do I have to smile as if nothing ever happened?" She thinks, "How dare he act like a victim?" She moves forward saying, "It seems nothing can save our relationship, so why don't we just end it? I can't bear the sight of you anymore." He shouts, "Ethel!" He tears the divorce papers. She turns towards him. He said, well, the document is damaged. So why don't we go somewhere and talk about?" She interrupts, pulling a copy of documents saying, "Don't worry." She showed him saying, "I prepared a copy, just in case." He ripped that too. She gives him one more, "Here's another." He ripped it too. She gave one more, another. He ripped that too. She again gave him one more saying, "Actually, I brought 4 extra copies." He ripped that too. She gave him one more saying, "Oh wait, there's one more." He gets furious and felt defeated. He grabs that copy from her. He said, "Even if you bring me thousands of copies, my answer will still be no." She gets furious too. She said, "Fine. Then let's go to court." He asked, "Do you believe you can win a case against me, a Cassius?" She shouts in a loud voice, "Absolutely. So let's get divorced. Leandro Cassius." The crowd gathered and murmurs, "Huh? Cassius? Come to think of it, that gentleman looks like Duke Cassius' son." He hides his face, damn it. Meanwhile she thinks, it's a matter of time now that the rumors about the bad relationship between Lord Cassius and his wife will spread. With this, I've achieved my primary goal by calling out Leandro out to the city hall. She beamed, thinking, even if this divorce case turns into mudslinging, I have nothing to lose. She passed him whispering, "Let's see who'll get tired and give in first." Murmurs filled the air as she left. While walking at a distance she thinks, is a lawsuit truly the only answer? Ethel's imagination. Did your husband have an affair? No. Did he use violence? No. Did he use abusive language? Not at all. Then did he gamble? He didn't. Does he have a child out of wedlock? Not that I know of. Did he refuse to pay your living costs for a certain number of months? He allocates about 5,000 gold every month for my living expenses and provides me a separate personal allowance. She thinks, feeling anxious. I don't want to admit it, but Leandro is an excellent husband on the surface. She thinks, if I have to, there's only one thing I can cite as reasonable grounds for divorce, but that issue is so sensitive I can't discuss it with a lawyer yet. Meanwhile, footsteps approached. Leandro came and grabs her shoulder. "Ethel," he said, "perhaps you misunderstood, as I'm not very good at expressing my emotions, but my feelings for you have not changed one bit. Although one thing led to another, and things have come to this." She thinks, "Ugh, he's so persistent." She said, "Am I supposed to believe that? You have no feelings for me whatsoever." He said, "That's not true. I married you because I liked you, and I don't want for us to divorce because I still do. There were so many other noble families I could have chosen from, but you were the only woman I considered to be my wife." She asked, "Do you think I don't know why you chose House Wallace, the abandoned mine in Anala?" Hearing this, he gets shocked. She said, "Rihanna wanted that mine, which was owned by House Wallace, and that's why you married me." The mine was one of House Wallace's few valuable properties. Excavating magic stones used to be a lucrative business, but as its profitability decreased, the mine grounded to a halt. Who would have known that that white elephant would turn into a golden goose in the future? She thinks, that'd be me. Who read this novel? And Rihanna, a regressor of this world? He shocked asked How? She stood confident. He trembles asking, How do you know that? She said, You confessed to me while you were drunk? He asked, Did I? She replied, Yes. Can't you even remember saying that? Meanwhile she thinks, Of course, you can't remember because it's a lie. Have we even talked face to face before this? She said, One night, you told me that Rihanna wanted the Anala mines so much that you decided to marry me. He shouts, Absolutely not. He said with a trembling voice, Well, I might have approached your family because of the mine at first, but when I laid my eyes on you, I immediately felt an attraction. After that, my feelings for you gradually grew. She asked, Then why did your attitude change after our wedding? Why have you neglected me so far? He said, It's because. She turned saying, Stop telling such a blatant lie. Do you think I'm a fool? He stopped her, grabbing her arm. Ethel, he said, Please give me a chance to explain myself. She asked, Why? Do you need to persuade me more so I'd hand over the Anala mine? He released her arm. After that she thinks, being furious, I will never allow them to take the mine away from me. Fortunately, the Anala mine is still registered under my name. She recalled saying to her father, Father, the best way for us to reduce our tax obligation is for you to give me the mine now, and then I can transfer it to my husband later. In the future, new technologies might enable us to dig deeper, so we have no reason to hurry and hand it to them now, don't we? Her father said, Yes, yes, of course. She thinks, the mine still has a pretty large reserve of magic stone. The problem is that they're buried so deep underground that excavating them now would be a losing business. Whenever my husband occasionally brought up the mine, I'd delay the name transfer time and time again on one pretext or another. She recalled herself saying, The documents have yet to arrive from my parents. I think the documents must have gone missing in an accident during delivery. Apparently, House Wallace's tax accountant fell ill from overwork. She thinks, House Cassius will certainly try to take the mine by any means, claiming that they deserve it because House Wallace promised it as dowry. Once the ownership is transferred, it'd take several times more effort to take it back. She clenched thinking, That's why I need to wrap up this divorce as soon as possible. Wanderer's Forest just outside the capital city. While going through the forest she thinks, it must be somewhere around here. Suddenly a crow came and she gasped, Eek! She heard something and followed the sound. She peeked from behind a tree. A man was standing there holding sword. She thinks, that man is the novel's antagonist, and Rihanna's archenemy, Marquis Terence Freehyden. She gasped seeing him. She thinks, I knew he'd be here, but I didn't expect to find him right away. What should I do? Terence is already a high-ranking noble, but he has even bigger secrets about his real identity which will earn him a position of great power soon. She thinks it may sound lame, but I should just say that I'm lost. After all, when will I ever run into him again? A chance like this doesn't come every day. I can't spend the rest of my life enduring their neglectful treatment in that house. She grits her teeth. She jolted when she heard, Who goes there? Terence said, If you want to live, reveal yourself. I know you're hiding behind me with bated breath. She covers her ears with her hands. A sound came like a blast. She peeked to see, but gets shocked seeing the tree being in two parts. An assassin came holding a dagger. He moves towards Terence saying, Damn it, die. But Terence dogged easily. He hits him behind. The assassin fell down on the ground. He said, How boring. How come the assassin's skills get poorer and poorer? Meanwhile Ethel's heartbeat gets fast. She sat silent behind the tree. She thinks while trembling, I don't think today is the day. It's too bad, but maybe next time. Suddenly she slipped. She was about to fall from height. But someone caught her. She thinks, What is this firm touch? Terence was holding her in his arms. She looked at him closely. She thinks, Whoa, he's really handsome up close. Oh no, what am I thinking? He puts her down while she thinks, I saw him leave. When did he come back? She bowed and said, Thank you. You saved my life. Hearing this he smiled. He asked, What is a young lady like yourself doing in these deep woods? She said, Oh, I took the wrong path. He asked, Wrong path? If you don't mind me asking, for what purpose did you enter the Wanderer's Forest? She said, I was just strolling. He said, The trail is a long way away from here, and it's in the opposite direction. She thinks, I knew it'd be a lame excuse. He asked, Are you saying you got lost while taking a walk alone in the Wanderer's Forest? She think, That sounds like nonsense even to me. He stares at her while she said, What I mean to say is, I'm here to run a personal errand. And that's why I was walking in the woods when I got lost. He asked, could you tell me what your personal errand is about? She said, that's a personal matter, so I'm afraid I can't. He draws his sword out saying, that's odd. The only people you can find around here are wandering mercenaries. She gets shocked and thinks, he's suspecting me. He's totally suspecting me. If need be, I should use my self-defense amulet. He asked, did you know who you'd find here today? She said, I'll tell you. She said, it is very personal, but since you saved my life, the least I can do is to share it with my savior. She said, actually, I came to find a mercenary who will escort me. I intend to divorce my husband, but he threatened that he'd never let me go. So I left home, but I'm afraid he'll find me sooner or later. He said, oh, I see. He asked, you seem like a noble lady. Why not hire a private knight? She, faking tears, replied, it's embarrassing to say, but I can't afford such service. He stares at her for a moment. Then he bowed and said, my apologies. I didn't mean to pry into your personal affairs. She said, not at all. I was the one who suddenly appeared and inconvenienced you. Meanwhile, she thinks it worked. She turns saying, well then, I should take my... Ouch. Why is there a fallen tree here? She remembered why the tree is fallen. She said, this must be the one you broke while you were training. You must have amazing skills, sir. He said, I do. I'm not one to brag, but I am a pretty good swordsman, if I do say so myself. I'm sure you won't regret it if you hire me as your escort. She asked, pardon? I don't understand. He leans towards saying, hire me as your bodyguard. She, shocked, asked, why you, as my bodyguard? He beamed, saying, I'm a wandering mercenary too. As it happens, I'm looking for someone to hire me. She clenched the papers in her hand thinking, bullshit. You're a Marquis, she said. As I already mentioned, I'm not in a very good financial position right now. He said, I won't charge you more than my basic rate. She asked, I'm not sure if I could treat a person with such great skills like that. He said, please don't worry. Receiving my base rate helps plenty when business is quiet. Then she said, but still, I think I'd be more comfortable with a female guard. He said, that won't be a problem since we won't be staying in the same room. She said, but... Then she had an idea and thinks, wait, isn't this my chance? This could be a golden opportunity to form a close enough relationship to make a deal over that information. She said, well, if you say so. She bowed and said, I'll be in your care. He bowed back too and said, likewise. Please call me T. She thinks, that is how I came to hire the novel character with a dark past as my bodyguard. She gulped, thinking, I made a good decision, right? While walking, she said, I'm Ethel. I'm still using my husband's surname, but since I'm divorcing him soon, I'm just Ethel Wallace. Meanwhile, she thinks, the Cassius name can only make him wary of me. Since Terence has been completely removed from high society up to this point, I'm sure he's not familiar with my maiden surname. He said, I'm T. I'm from a humble background, so I don't have a surname. She thinks, he didn't even bat an eye when he just lied to me. She glanced at him. She smiled, thinking, who cares when he's so awfully handsome? If the novel had illustrations of its characters, I would have loved Terence. He asked, if you are living apart from your husband, where are you staying now? She said, I'm staying at a hotel. I plan on getting a house in the near future. He asked, then I should stay there too. Is the next room available? She said, most probably. Oh, your lodging expenses are on me. Also, you can order room service once a week. I'm an advocate of employee welfare. He said, you don't have to. I can pay myself. She asked, do you have the money for that? He said, ahem, then I'll accept them gratefully. She laughed, thinking, you shouldn't forget you're acting as a poor mercenary, Marquis. She thinks, the Terence I know from the novel can't stand a debt, for better or worse. I'll get this back with interest someday. After that they went to hotel. He looked around in his room. He said, what a strange woman. The embarrassed look on her face was quite intriguing, and when she tried to escape, I found myself wanting to stop her. Still, it's very unlike me to voluntarily go through trouble like this. That aside, I should send word. He starts writing a letter, thinking, my absence is to be prolonged for an indefinite period. Since I decided to do it, let's do it perfectly. At night she was asleep in her room, and Terence was sleeping on his chair holding his sword. Next day, they went to a shop. The shopkeeper said, welcome. Are you looking for anything specific? She said, I'd like to buy some medicinal tea herbs. Terence moves aside holding his forehead. She thinks, it seems he's having a headache. She thinks Marquis Freeheiden's greatest weakness is that he suffers from chronic headaches. It's the result of a curse placed upon the imperial ancestors in exchange for receiving some of the goddess's power. Since then, the imperial family members have been able to freely manipulate mana, but at the cost of suffering severe migraines. The greater the power, the more intense the pain. The two sons of the current emperor, who are said to have the greatest power of all time, aren't free from the curse either. Crown Prince Mikhail, the male lead of the novel, and Riena's lover. Terence, the illegitimate child the emperor had out of wedlock. Terence's mother was Marquis Mola's daughter, and the emperor's first fiancé. One day, the emperor's older brother suddenly died, and the emperor, who was then the second prince, was proclaimed heir to the throne. However, Lady Molo then vanished into thin air. Frustrated by the scandalous rumors about his fiancé having eloped with a coachman, the crown prince married Duke Velvet's daughter instead. Afterward, House Molo declined, and Lady Molo was almost forgotten from memory, when suddenly, she reappeared with a baby boy in her arms. She claimed that she was kidnapped and had been confined under the wicked scheme of Duke Velvet and the former emperor. However, without real evidence, no one dared to call for an explanation from the former emperor and the powerful House Velvet. In the end, Lady Molo couldn't recover her position, and the child she had been pregnant with while being kidnapped also failed to be recognized as the blood of the imperial family. That child could have grown up to be the crown prince as the next emperor, but instead, he's a victim of a conspiracy and lost everything he rightfully deserved. That child is none other than Terence Freeheiden. Terence can't call the emperor his father, and he is constantly exposed to Duke Velvet's assassination attempts. She thinks being teary, I feel bad for him. He seems like a nice guy. In the story, his acute migraine is one of the main reasons why Terence goes astray. As the pain becomes unbearable, he resorts to using a powerful pain relief drug known as the Devil's Claw. In the same vein, Crown Prince Mikhail suffers from the same malady, but he has Riena. According to the book, Riena has the goddess's blessing, which allows her to neutralize the curse. The writer's favoritism is way too absurd. One son becomes the crown prince and has a lover blessed by the goddess, while the other becomes an addict after living with discrimination, all because he's a bastard child. Overwhelmed by despair and the adverse drug effects, Terence loses himself and turns toward the dark side. And eventually the shopkeeper said, "Here you are." Ethel replied, "Thank you." She thinks Terence will be fine once he drinks the healing tea. The healing tea is a medicine which calms down the agonizing headaches of the imperial family. It's the future Riena who first invents its formula. But what does it matter if I steal it? She thinks, my plan was to get a divorce with Terence's help and then flee the empire before the fight over the throne becomes fierce. He was having headache, but suddenly became calm seeing Ethel. Ethel thinks, but after getting to know him a bit more, I feel sorry for him. She asked, shall we move on to the next place? While leaving she thinks, he won't lapse into drug addiction as long as he drinks the healing tea. While walking he asked, what do you need the holy water for? She replied, I need it to make something. Meanwhile she thinks, it's an ingredient for your tea. She said, I didn't know there was a temple in the Wanderer's Forest. He said, that's why this one is far less crowded than the Grand Temple. Suddenly he felt something. He grabs her hand and runs this way. Confused she asked, TT. After hiding her behind a tree he draws his sword. She asked, what are you doing? Tell me what's going. He shush her, shh. He grabs her and her heartbeat gets fast. She thinks, he's too close. Meanwhile a lady came wearing a cloak. Seeing her Ethel thinks Tara. Did she follow us? He clenched his sword and rushed towards her. She saw him and pulls her dagger out. He attacked her but she managed to block it using her dagger. Then her dagger fell from her hand. He grabs her arm. He asked, why did you follow us? She shouts, I didn't. She shouts to Ethel, my lady. He asked Ethel, do you know this woman? Ethel said, yes, she's a maid of my husband's house. Then he released her. The maid said, I happened to see you and wanted to speak to you about something. Ethel said, if that were true, you wouldn't have followed us in secret. She asked, did Riena send you to tail us? Tara said, pardon? And no, not at all. Why would Lady Riena? Ethel asked, do you think I don't know, Tara? How many times have you followed me and used my weaknesses to lure me into traps? Tara Spello, she's Riena's dog. Tara's parents were given a small patch of farmland as a reward for their dedication to their master's family. However, It all turns out to be a deceptive ploy by their master, and so, Tara's family lost their livelihoods overnight, and Tara lost her entire family in the aftermath. After a relentless pursuit, she successfully exacted her revenge, and was executed for the murder of a nobleman. This happens in Riena's first life. After regressing, Riena went to find Tara, who was nothing but a stranger in her first life, and offered to help Tara, who had yet to accomplish her revenge. Ethel thinks Riena saw that she has tenacity and outstanding skills to gather intel. He puts his sword on her neck, asking Ethel, "How would you like me to proceed, my lady?" Ethel said, "Could you excuse us for a moment?" He said, "Very well. I will stay just out of earshot." Then Ethel comes close to Tara. She whispers, "Cooperate with me, and I'll tell you the whereabouts of your enemy, Viscount Chilian." Tara gets shocked and asked, "How did you dash?" Ethel said, "It's a secret, just like what Riena said." She asked, "You've had questions, right? Riena's not a god. How does she know everything?" Meanwhile, she thinks it's natural because Riena doesn't reveal that she's a regressor until the story is about to end. Tara said, "It doesn't matter even if you have the same ability as Lady Riena. She is my savior, and you're not." Ethel asked, "Is that so? Then why hasn't she told you where Chilian is yet?" Tara starts trembling, saying she said she would, when it's the right time. Ethel asked, "The right time? Why wait? You must know she's lying too." Tara interrupts her, shouting, "Shut up." Ethel asked, "Don't you want to know what information I have?" She thinks, to Tara, revenge comes before loyalty. Tara asked, "What do you want from me?" Hearing this, Ethel thinks, "Gotcha." Ethel said, "When you return home, tell Riena what I'm going to tell you." Then Ethel tells her something. After that, Tara asked, "Is that really all?" Ethel asked, "It's not too much, is it?" Tara asked, "Very well. When can I get the information?" Ethel said, "In 2 months." After that, Tara left. Ethel thinks, phew, there's something scary about her. Actually, Riena isn't intentionally holding back the information. She can't tell Tara because she doesn't have the information. All she knows about Chilian is his fake identity she read about in the newspaper before she regressed. Unlike her, I know where he is right now because I read the novel from cover to cover. Transmigration is better than regression in this aspect. She thinks, "I'm sorry, Tara, but I need you to suspect Riena until I successfully get divorced." Suddenly Terence came and asked, "How did the talk go?" She gets jolted. He said, "You seem to have completely forgotten about me." She asked, "Did you hear our conversation?" He said, "Of course not. I obey my employer's commands." She said, "I should treat my trusty bodyguard to a late lunch, then shall we return to our hotel?" At Duke's Palace, Tara said, "I'm back, my lady." Riena said, "Welcome back, Tara. Did you do as I asked?" Tara replied, "Yes." Riena said to other maids, "You girls can take your leave now." But the maid said, "My lady, please try on one more. What do you think of this?" No, this one will look better on you." Riena, making an innocent face, said, "Please, I really need to talk with Tara alone. You'll excuse us, won't you?" The maids left them alone. Riena said to Tara, "I'm thankful for their attention, but it's too much at times." Meanwhile, Tara thinks, "Then you can tell them to stop." Riena asked, "So? How's Ethel?" Tara said, "I have nothing much to report. She took a walk and went shopping." Meanwhile, she thinks, "That's not a lie, at least." Riena asked, "How did she look?" Tara replied, "She looked, well, she laughed a lot." Tara in her mind said, "Only in front of him though." Riena shouts, beaming, "I knew it. She has no intention of getting a divorce." Leandro said that Ethel knows about the Anala mine, so I was a bit concerned. Tara clasped her hands. Reina continues, "All things considered, she's just throwing a momentary fit, isn't she?" "Oh, Leandro. Even if he was drunk, he should have watched his tongue. He should realize how much Ethel loves him." "Now, what gift should I prepare to make her feel better?" Tara asked. "Will you leave the mine under Lady Ethel's name then?" While seeing a design book, she replied, "I think I will. Its value won't increase until later on." "Oh my, this one will be just perfect on me." Tara asked, "Would you like me to continue watching her?" She said, "There's no need. Return to your original post." After that, Tara left the room. At a cafe, Ethel asked him, "How does it taste?" Terence replied, "It's not bad." She asked, "And?" He said, "It tastes a little like medicine, but it sure has a good scent." She asked, "Is that all? You've been drinking it for 3 days now." He asked, "Should there be something more?" She said, "Of course. Perhaps you feel more refreshed, you sleep better at night, Or you feel more energetic. Is there no such change? He said, now that you mention it, I do think I feel it. She felt disappointed, he said. It's herbal tea, my lady, not medicine. The effects won't be as great as you might expect. She clenched her hand thinking, but it's not just any herbal tea. Ugh, if I asked him about his headache, he'd definitely notice that I know about his true identity. Could I have mistaken the ratio of the ingredients? She thinks seeing him asleep, awesome. Great timing. She closed her eyes and started focusing him. After that she opened her eyes again. She thinks I knew I got the ratio right. I have an ability called mental reading. It enables me to conjure up the pages of a returner's rosy second life and read them in my mind whenever and wherever I want. As convenient as this ability is, it exhausts so much energy that I can use it no more than twice a day. Seeing him, she thinks, he was dozing off like that yesterday too. The previous day. She asked, is the hotel bed not comfortable enough for you? He said, I wouldn't know. I haven't used it properly. She felt disappointed thinking, I guess this hotel is too shabby for a nobleman like him. He wakes up and asked, my lady? He noticed her and asked, you look tired all of a sudden. She flinched saying, and no. I mean, why yes, I'm tired. I'll go rest in my room. So why don't you go out for some fresh air? He said, I'm afraid I can't do that. I'm your bodyguard. My place should be by your side. Saying this, he moves his hand towards her. She holds his hand saying, thank you. She thinks, he's such a decent guy indeed. On their way some said seeing Terence, Marquis. He glares at him, and he stopped. Then Terence turns towards Ethel saying, my fellow mercenary seems to have something to tell me. She said, sure, you can take your time. I'll head in first. Meanwhile she thinks, fellow mercenary, my foot. It's obvious that he's a servant of a noble house. Suddenly they heard clip-clops of horse. A carriage came and stopped in front of them. Seeing the carriage, Ethel thinks, that's the carriage of House Cassius. The carriage's door opens and someone came out. It was Rihanna. She dashed towards Ethel and hugs her saying, Ethel. After that they went inside a hotel. Rihanna and Ethel sat in front of each other having tea. Tara glanced at Ethel and she nods back at Tara. Ethel glanced at Terence standing behind. She thinks, what a relief. Rihanna doesn't seem to notice that tea is with me. Ethel then asked Rihanna, what do you want from me? Rihanna's guard shouts, how uncivilized, Miss Ethel. Lady Rihanna came all the way here to see you. She thinks, so he doesn't even call me Lady Ethel now? That's very big of you, swordsman. Rihanna said, Matisse, don't be so rude to Ethel. He said, Biba, my lady. Rihanna said, apologize to her. This is in order. Matisse said, please forgive me, Miss Ethel. Rihanna said, Lady Ethel. Ethel said, stop it. I'll no longer be your lady soon anyway. You too, Rihanna. Stop acting like we're sisters-in-law. Rihanna shouts, how can you say that, Ethel? Tears welled up in her eyes as she said, I apologize on behalf of Leandro. Though everything began with the Analamine, I swear it's not the whole truth. Ethel moves her hand away. She sips her tea while Rihanna said, I'm not sure how to put this, but I tend to have good instincts for things to happen. For example, a porcelain vase I bought at a flea market turned out to be a rare piece by a master craftsman, and the investment I made on a company just because I liked its name made huge returns. Ethel thinks, good instinct, my foot. You regressed, and that's how you know it all. Rihanna said, I know it's hard to believe. Even my family thought I was playing a prank at first. Ethel thinks, the only person in the novel who believed her till the end was that simpleton Luhaim. Rihanna then tells, I was traveling the Anala region one day. I was passing by the area of your family's mine and then I felt it. I thought, oh, this mine will be a big hit in the future. That's why Leandro visited your family to purchase it, and fell for you at first sight. Ethel thinks, Rihanna is a nice girl, but she can also lie without batting an eye if necessary. I liked her character in the novel because she didn't seem like a pushover, but, Rihanna said, do you remember the day when you first visited our house? I've really liked you since then. Ethel asked, do you really like me just the way I am? Rihanna beamed, of course. Ethel said, then you'll still like me even if I don't own the mine, don't you? Rihanna asked, huh? Ethel asked, can I go back home to the Cassius estate without the mine to my name? Actually, I've been feeling uncomfortable because of it. Now that you told me your true feelings, I'm relieved. Rihanna shouts, wait, Ethel, she said, if it was simply that reason that you wanted it, I think I should just give it back to my parents. Rihanna said, but it's your dowry. Ethel said, you said yourself just now that you like me. Do you not like me if I don't have it? Rihanna replied, and no, I didn't mean that. Oh, right. What was I thinking? I completely forgot about the presents. Matisse, Tara. They complied, yes, my lady. They presents a lot of gifts. Rihanna said, please give me some time to think about the mine. I'm fine without it, but father might think differently. It concerns our family name too, so… Ethel asked, since when did House Cassius care about such a thing? While showing a gift, Rihanna said, Ethel, would you like to open this? Ethel opens it thinking, she clearly has no intention of accepting me without the mine. It was a necklace and Rihanna said, I wasn't sure what you'd like, so I chose what I think is good. Ethel thinks seeing it, it looks pretty pricey. Showering gifts is what Rihanna does best to win someone over. Rihanna asked, try them on? Don't you think they'll look great on you? Ethel said, no, I don't think they will. Rihanna nervously asked, right? Huh? Ethel asked, can you open the other boxes for me too? Then Rihanna showed different gifts, some jewels. Seeing them, Ethel said, my word, these are way too brilliant for me. Then she showed some magic books. Ethel said, I'm lacking in knowledge. I wouldn't know how to use these. Then she showed a muffler made out of fox wool. Ethel said, it'd be an insult to the white fox if I were to wear this. Ethel thinks, although I expressed it in roundabout way, the conclusion remains the same. Ethel Wallace, who to them is worthless without the mine, will never accept such expensive gifts. Why can't she just come clean about wanting the mine and apologize, instead of trying to gloss over the truth with lame lies and gifts? All this after treating me like I was invisible too. Rihanna asked Ethel, you really are angry. Can't you please relieve your feelings for me? Ethel thinks, are you asking me to relieve my anger for you when you're the one who's making me angrier? Rihanna said, I understand that you're mad at Leandro. You don't have to be like this to me too. She asked Ethel, can't you just forget about my brother for a moment and return to being my loving sister-in-law? Ethel thinks, loving? Who? Me? Are you saying that I love you? Rihanna then said, don't worry about Leandro. I'll talk to him. Just please give him one more chance. Ethel shocked thinks, what the? She thinks, come to think of it. She imagined Rihanna saying, I apologize on behalf of Leandro. Ethel thinks, she only apologized on behalf of her brother, but she never apologized herself. Does she believe Leandro is the only person I hate? Does she truly believe that I like her? She thinks, it's true that I hate Leandro the most, but I don't like the rest of his family either. They all equally ignored me. Then Ethel asked her, why do you think I like you, Rihanna? Rihanna said, what do you mean, why? You have no reason to hate me. Ethel shocked thinks, was she always this self-conceited? Wait, could it be? Unlike her first life, Rihanna has been loved by everyone around her after she regressed. The only ones who hate her until the end of the story were the villains. That's how this world has revolved around her so far, and that's why she can't even fathom that anyone would hate her. Rihanna asked her, Ethel, what are you pondering about? She said, nothing. Rihanna smiled and said, think about my effort to please you, and at least take one of these gifts. Ethel thinks, what should I do? I can't afford to act based on my emotions and make an enemy out of her. Ugh, I have no more strength to think after using my mental reading ability and having to deal with her. Rihanna said, Ethel, you haven't answered me yet. Ethel released her hand forcefully from Rihanna's hand. Ethel said, let me be frank with you, Rihanna. She stood up saying, I don't like you, so please get out of my sight, and never show up before me again. Do you understand? Words didn't come out from Rihanna's mouth. Matisse and Tara get surprised. Ethel left saying, I'm sure you can see yourself out. Goodbye. Matisse steps towards her saying, how dare you speak to Lady Rihanna like that? I won't let. But Terence make him fall on ground, moving his foot in his way. He said smiling, oh, my apologies. I didn't see you there. Matisse shouts, who the hell are you? He replied, I'm a hotel guest just passing by. Ethel surprised thinks, how long has he been around me? Did he hear my conversation with Rihanna? Matisse draw his sword out shouting, how insolent. Terence was also ready but Rihanna interrupts. She shouts, stop. That's enough. Do you intend to tarnish the Cassius name? She turns saying to Matisse, I'm going home. Come. While Rihanna and Matisse was leaving, Tara turns and bowed. Terence asked Ethel, is everything all right? She said, I'm sorry you had to witness such an unsightly scene. He said, don't worry. They're saints compared to my family. She thinks, I can't deny that. He said, I didn't know your husband is a Cassius. She said, oh, I didn't mean to hide it, he said. If you're seeking a divorce against Cassius, it'd definitely be an uphill battle. She said, I know. I submitted our divorce papers, but I doubt it was even accepted properly. Then changing topic she asked, Oh, did you talk with your colleague? He replied, Yes, he just came to inform me that someone's waiting for me at home. She said, Then you should hurry up and go home. He replied, He's a frequent visitor. He wouldn't mind if I'm a bit late. She thinks, who would visit Terence at home? And frequently at that. His servant came to report their arrival. Despite knowing how he'd be annoyed, then that guest must be someone of pretty high standing. She looked shocked thinking, Wait, Terence's frequent visitor, his servants can't keep waiting. Could it be the Emperor? Thinking this, she starts pushing him saying, I think you should go right now. He said, No, I can stay a little longer. She said, I'm really fine, so off you go. Then he left. She thinks, if it really is the Emperor, he'll most likely bring up that subject to Terence. She thinks, the Emperor has finally decided to officially recognize his son as his blood, after neglecting him in the shadows for a long time. The estate of Marquis Freeheiden previously, the house of Marquis Molo. Terence reached there and seeing him, Butler shouts, Marquis, he said, you promised to come soon. While going inside, Terence asked, Where's His Majesty? Butler replied, He's still waiting in the drawing room. Terence said, You should have sent him back instead of keeping him waiting. Butler asked, How could I when he insisted he should see you, my lord? My lord, don't you need to change before? Terence enters the room saying, I don't have time for that. Emperor was sitting inside waiting for him. He bowed and said, Greetings, your majesty. Dominic the 23rd Emperor of the Astaroth Empire said, I thought I had to wait forever. Terence kneeled saying, I apologize for keeping you waiting. If only you had sent word in advance. Emperor said, Never you mind. We don't need such formalities between us. Then Terence sat on sofa in front of him. Emperor asked, There's nothing wrong with enjoying your youth outside, but isn't it about time you settled down? And what slovenly clothes you're wearing. He clenched thinking, these were gifted from her. He recalled Ethel saying, Don't worry about the money, just pick whatever you like. How the employee is dressed represents the employer's image too. Being so greedless, how are you going to survive in this rough world? You should take advantage of a chance like this. He thinks, she's just so irresistibly kind. Noticing him, Emperor asked, Terence? He asked, What else can I do, except for going out and seeing the world? Then the Emperor chuckled and said, Well, you'll be very busy soon once you begin to learn the tasks of a ruler. Hearing this, he asked, being confused, Pardon? Emperor said, Terence, my son, I intend to register your name in the Imperial Family Registry. Terence said, I need some time to think. Emperor asked, What do you need to think about? He thinks, It'd be a lie if I said I've never imagined becoming an Imperial Prince. Well, now that House Velvet is eclipsed by House Cassius, perhaps the timing couldn't be better. Besides, the Crown Prince lost the Empress's favor because of his relationship with Rihanna, an orphan. Emperor asked, Do you truly not want power? He remains silent. He thinks, Not really, but I do wonder how the Empress, who's been constantly sending me assassins, will respond to this. I'd also like to see the look on Mikhail's face, who's been taking everything he enjoys for granted since he was born. Emperor asked, Power provides you many great things. Isn't there anything you truly desire? He thinks, Something I desire so much that makes me want to become an imperial prince. He clenched his fist thinking, What am I thinking? Once I say yes, my life will be entirely different than what it has been until now. It's a choice I can't step back from, nor take back. Then he said, I accept the position of imperial prince. Emperor beamed and asked, So you do have something you desire? He said, Yes, I'd like to help someone out of trouble. Emperor asked, Help someone? Who is it? He said, Why don't we just leave it at that for now? Emperor said, How insipid. Then he asked, Speaking of which, your majesty, I recently heard a very interesting story. At Duke's palace, he asked Leandro, How in the world did you handle things? He said, I'm sorry. Duke said, The emperor will certainly use this as an excuse to demand something from me. Imperial Central Court, a few days ago. Leandro bribed court officials to destroy the divorce papers. Emperor asked Duke, Bribing a court official to destroy a divorce application. Your son must love his wife immensely. Duke said, I am at fault, your majesty. Emperor said, You know this is clearly an illicit act, but I shall keep it undisclosed for you. Duke said, Thank you, your majesty. Back to present, Duke asked, What are you going to do now? Since they accepted your documents, your divorce will be handled in court soon. Duke slams on table shouting, "It'll be a matter of time before they know it's you." Leandro said, "I won't let the divorce trial happen. I'll talk to Ethel and change her mind before the court date." Duke said, "If you could, things wouldn't have come this far in the first place." He said, "Trust me, father, I can handle this." Duke said, "I shouldn't have spoiled you." Leandro said, "You've never treated me that way, father. Not even once." Suddenly Rihanna came shouting, "Please stop." She said, "Dad, that's enough. Please stop scolding him." Duke said, "This doesn't concern you, dear." She said, "I'm sure Leandro means the best." He said to her, "Go outside, Rihanna." She shouts, "Dad." She said, "This is about our family, yet you tell me to go out. If you treat me like this." She shouts, "I won't eat lunch." Duke and Leandro get shocked and asked, "Rihanna, what nonsense are you saying?" She said, "I won't eat dinner either." Duke said, "You damage your health." Leandro added, "What if you all ill?" Liam came shouting, "You can't do that, little bunny. You're too delicate." Rihanna said, "I won't skip my meals, Dad, so please give Leandro another chance." Duke said, "Rihanna." He said, "Very well, see to it as you see fit, Leandro." She smiled, saying, "Thank you, Dad." While walking in hallway, Rihanna asked to Leandro, "Do you have a plan, Leandro?" He replied, "Not really. I think I'll just have to make a sincere apology." She said, "Be careful." She seemed to be much angrier than we thought. She tells, "I actually went to see her yesterday. She said she hates me. I know she didn't mean it, but..." Liam added, "For her to tell such a lie, she really must hate you, Leandro." Leandro said, "I'm sorry you had to hear that because of me, Rihanna." She said, "I was shocked at first, but on second thought, I knew it couldn't be true. You know how close Ethel and I used to be." Liam asked, "Still, Ethel went too far. She should have directed her anger only to Leandro. Why did she say such hurtful things to you?" She said, "If you really want to bring her back, you'll have to give it your best." Leandro said, "I don't know what else to do. Things just get worse and worse every time I see her." Then suddenly she had an idea and said, "I have an idea." Meanwhile Ethel said, seeing the hotel garden, "Wow, I didn't know this hotel has such a beautiful garden." She asked Terence, "It's a splendid day. How about having tea out here?" He replied, "Very well. I shall prepare tea service." Ethel thinks while sitting on chair, "I didn't expect our divorce application would be processed so soon. Maybe it's thanks to Terence. Whether it was him or not, I'll have him drink the healing tea as thanks." She heard some ladies saying, "Oh my, look at that. That's..." Seeing a carriage coming, Ethel thinks, "Is that House Cassius' carriage again?" It was Leandro, dressed well and holding a bouquet. He shouts, "Ethel." Seeing him she thinks, "El Leandro." She jolted seeing him. She thinks, "What is he doing here?" He steps towards her. He kneeled in front of her, presenting the bouquet, saying, "It was all my fault, Ethel. Please give me another chance." She shocked thinks, "What the..." He said, "Please come back to me, my love." She said, "Stand up." He said, "No, I'll stay on my knee like this until you forgive me." She said, "Please be quiet and stand up right now." He said, "Don't worry. My knee and pride won't hurt so easily as you think." She said, being angry, "Hey, stand up." She turns to leave, saying, "Follow me." He said, "Ethel." Then they went somewhere. Elise. She asked him, "Why are you here?" He said, "Why else? I came to beg for your forgiveness, of course." She said, "I'm really surprised that you still have the courage to seek my forgiveness." He asked, "Why is that surprising?" "I made a mistake, so I'm trying to apologize and ask for forgiveness." She said, "Some apologies are better left unmade." She asked, "You show up out of the blue and embarrass me in public. Is that how House Cassius apologizes to someone?" He said, "But if I hadn't done that, you wouldn't have agreed to meet me." She said, "Of course not. I have the right to refuse your visit." He, shocked and confused at the same moment, asked, "We're married. What's so wrong about a husband seeing his own wife?" She asked, being serious, "Can you call the relationship we had as one of a married couple's?" He remained silent. She asked, "Leandro, you don't seriously believe you can be forgiven, do you?" He said, "I heard Rihanna explain to you that the story about the mine was a mix-up." She asked, "Oh, you mean the lie she told me about how you approached me because of the mine but fell in love at first sight?" He said, "That's not a lie. I was so embarrassed that I just failed to explain it properly to you the other day." She asked, "Is that so? Then why have you been so cold to me for the past 2 years?" He said, "That I can't tell you." She turns to leave, saying, "Then this conversation is over. You can go or stay here alone, it's up to you." He shouts, I can promise you this, Ethel. He presents the bouquet again, saying, once you return home, I swear I'll fulfill my role as the best husband and treat you with utmost sincerity. She takes the bouquet. He seemed happy, but that happiness was not for more than few seconds. She throws that into trash, saying, it's too late. He stood shocked. She said, stop wasting your energy and leave. He shouts, wait. Can't you please give me another chance? He grabs her wrist. She shouts, let go of me. He shouts, promise me first that you'll have a talk with me. She asked, I don't want to. Why would I? He asked, is having a conversation too much to ask? She shouts, I don't want to talk with. Suddenly Terence came and kicks him. He was dressed up in a waiter's dress and said, you shouldn't hold a lady against her will like that. He said to Ethel, I'm sorry for taking so long. The tea house owner was away, so I had to wait. Leandro gasped seeing him. Who are you? He noticed his sword and said, you don't seem like a waiter. Terence said, me? I'm someone who's good at brewing tea and even better in other things. Meanwhile, Ethel thinks Duke Cassius might recognize Terence, but I don't think Leandro would. Terence said, by other things, I mean something that's physically far more helpful to a lady than a bouquet of flowers. Ethel said, he's my bodyguard. Hearing this, Leandro gets shocked and asked, be bodyguard? She said, I hired him in case you'd approach me like this. Shocked, he asked, what kind of relationship do you two have? Terence asked her, does your ex-husband have a problem with his hearing? Leandro said, my hearing is just fine. He said, that aside, why am I her ex-husband? I'm still her husband. Terence said, oh, pardon me. Please let me correct myself. You're her ex-husband-to-be. Ethel said to him, stop teasing him. She said, Leandro, if you have something to say, quickly say it and leave. He points his finger towards Terence, saying, if he's your bodyguard, does that mean he's with you all the time? Ethel said, when I go out, yes. He starts trembling and said, how could you? Why, you're a married woman. She asked, why is that a problem? His word shakes as he asked, what if people get the wrong impression? She asked, what do you mean by that? He said, well, what if they suspect your fidelity? Ethel smiled and said, aha, do you mean to ask if I'm having an affair? Don't you? He said, Ethel. I trust you, of course, but others might. She said, as long as you, my husband, trust me, I'm fine. I don't care what people say of me. He trembles, saying, your reputation could be tarnished. She asked, Leandro, your reputation has never been tarnished at all yet, has it? He gets shocked. What is that supposed to mean?